Hello everyone, this is going to be explaining sidestepping more in depth. Since I've noticed, even when beginning to sidestep, that it's very hard and it turns a 2D game into a 3D game, and proper mechanics like the heat system are very hard to face if you do not know how to properly sidestep. And now, first, many matchups you may have been just to sidestep right or sidestep left, and it's easy, and it's supposedly easy against Kazuya if you just sidestep him to the left and you step Jin to the right. And this is also adding on top of the sidestepping section of the Polish Your Fundamentals videos. If you haven't watched that, please go check it out to help clear up the missing information you have. So first, let me clear up a misconception about just stepping a certain character in a direction. So once you're told that, you need to have a grain of, take it with a grain of salt. From the example I stated before, it is true you step Jin to the right. A majority of his tools you step to the right. However, he does have some tools you step to the left. The same is said for all characters. You cannot step a character in one direction and expect to evade every attack. Especially if the person notices, so they use other tools or homing options. Let me make a scenario. You go against a Jin, and I'm a Jin main, so it makes sense. And Jin's a very popular character, so it'll be very good for you guys watching. You're put into a combo, and your back is at the wall, and you tech roll. You try to sidestep. Jin's right, because Jin is weak to sidestep right. You were told that, and he does a down forward one, which checks your sidestep right. And you're thinking, but I stepped in the right direction, and it was with good timing. Well, matchup knowledge, yes, it even matters in which way to step against certain tools. Sidestepping is very hard to do in the neutral. However, pro players do mini sidesteps sometime and punish jabs by weaving mini sidesteps in their backdashing to make things whiff. However, that is another advanced strategy, and I will be trying to build on the basic sidestepping. Um, as I was saying, in neutral, where both players are trying to poke, it's very hard to step jabs because they're very quick, they recover very fast, it's hard to punish, it's hard to react. However possible, as I did state in my previous video. However, it's easier to learn the scenarios where sidestepping is easier. As I stated, -7 if the move has pushback, all the way to +5 is where I'm comfortable / find the most reward in sidestepping. However, you might find different ranges. You cannot sidestep randomly and hope to learn it by doing that, or just not learn how to properly do it. Hopefully this video will help you learn it. So every tool is what I recommend. Every poke you have, every tool that you use on your main character, I would learn all the frame data for it. If it's well, not jabs, because jabs are universal. Like something like a full crouch down 4, universal. Full crouch down 3, universal. However, I believe universal. But yeah, just everything that you have. I wouldn't say strings. You could do strings if you wanted to, though. And just yeah, learn every poke, every string, I guess, that you use. You know, on hit, on block. You know, on whiff you can't really account for that, but you know, those are very important to know. So if they're in the frame, the ranges to sidestep, let's say -4, -5, -6, you could sidestep, post that move or post that string. That is why I'm very confident in the Jin mirror, because I know every single frame situation by number. I try to, anyways, a majority of it, and use it to my knowledge when people throw things out, and usually just sidestep. After they throw something out and I can sidestep, they usually throw out something linear, sidestep launch, easy. But yeah, I wouldn't lab every other character's pokes because that is a lot of things. And I would usually just know the basics for other characters like jab is +1 on block. A chunky mid keep out that's usually slower and usually looks like a counter hit. -7 or higher. Some characters like June, I think, their down forward 3 is a mid. I think it's -14 though. So I would lab to a point. See like, oh, this keep out is minus whatever on block to see if it truly is like, can you step after this, but or punish. And also a down forward 1. Down forward 1s are not universal as in frames. For example, Jin's is I 13. I think Lee's is I 15, 16. I'm pretty sure. That either way, it's not the frame, not the same frame startup, and it's not the same stuff on block or on hit. Anyways, the next step after learning the frame data on each of your moves is to see what your opponent does after you do your moves that you lapped. For example, you do an interaction. Well, actually, let's just say you jab, and then you jab again to frame trap your jab, or they jab and then frame trap their jab. You could sidestep easily between their jabs, or they could sidestep easily between your jabs, or they could high crush you, but either way, this is sidestepping. But this is just giving you options if you're not considering simple interactions like that. Another frame trap that is common, your +3, Jin's down back 4 into I13 homing, which is a high. It's Jin's 4 down back 4 into 4 homing high. It trades with everything, but it could be beaten by high crushes. So this is also, it's a frame trap, but it also catches steps. So that's why you need to be careful about common setups that maybe certain moves they use home. So you should maybe duck it or block or whatever is the weakness to it. However, it does not sound like I'm getting anywhere. So let me set this up. Post electric on block if you don't play Mishimas is +5 on block. So you would be -5 blocking it. And for example, Jin, I would say sidestepping is very strong against Jin, especially at the lower level. They usually would not consider sidestepping, beating sidestepping options. They usually would throw out forward 4. I hear people get taught forward 4 after +5. But it is good to beat slower mashes. But people who know what they're doing will not beat that and either like try to jab you or set step, crouch to beat even your 4 and other options. But either way, that's very I wouldn't say advanced, but it's not basic. So let's say electric into 4/4 does beat silver buttons, loses to sidestepping, and it loses to sidestepping very hard. So do not let Jin's autopilot it. I was playing against Fifi Shu, a very good Jin player, and I was getting away with it a lot. I mean, he was getting away with it a lot, but at the same time, we've sort of built each other's what's the word? Our strategies to let us get away with it, because we did do different options post electric, so it was hard to just not hold back, because you could get high crush if you do try to interrupt or sidestep, because you could get tracked. And for example, if they do try to adapt after getting launched for a 4/4 and they try to tracking home you, their 4, you could easily block it and be left at -8 or -9, or they're left at -8 or -9, and then you earn your turn. Or you could, even duck it on a hard read and launch in that way. So they can't really autopilot their options. They have to really read what you're gonna do and then hopefully try to beat you. And if you read what they're gonna do, you could just beat them. That's why I do not like mashing at minus. I usually like stepping. And then when I make them start wavering in their offense, I can start putting in jabs and mashing a little bit, like smartly mashing, like maybe a delayed jab or a power crush, either way. And now they will have to do mind games to get pokes, because if they do land an electric, sure, +5, but if you're not pressing to forward 4, if you're not pressing into magic 4, they would have to either Go into a low, let's say down 4 quickest gen low, or I think down 3 is his quickest low, but down 3 is pretty bad. Down 4, it's I-16. It's not a frame trap, but it is high crushing. Either way, you could low pair it, you could hop kick, and there's risk and reward, you know? But that's just a very advanced game of Tekken, which I love. But yeah, you want to establish dominance in these scenarios to make them think about every single move they throw, even a simple jab. Because I've launched people, like I said previously, I've launched people who jab me, I step them, and then I electric them, trying to frame trap me. Because, you know, sidestepping is very broken, especially if you just have simple read. I wouldn't say broken, but it's very good if people do not know how to react against it, and usually they just stick to their roots, and usually you can just get away with a lot of stuff by just sidestepping, such as heat smashes, heat dashes, etc., etc. So yeah, you could either hold back, not even mash into a frame trap, and then if they do try to do something, they would have to do on a delay timing. If you out-time them, you just counter hit them. Post plus frames. It's just a very, very advanced game that can change from either, you know, don't mash into this frame trap. Okay, now I can mash because it's not positive anymore. And, you know, maybe I read a low was happening, so I'm a hop kick. Boom, I launch them, etc., etc. But some characters like, I don't want to say Lily because I don't really play Lily. However, you know, Lily can make you crouch. She has a down 1-2, which is a low high, I believe, which forces you into a mix, so you can't just hold back. But you know, she is taking a risk going low. I don't know her frame traps, but you know, I would assume it's similar to something like Jin's. You know, I wouldn't assume she forces you into these mix-ups that are unbeatable without reads, of course. And lastly, now in the neutral, it is possible to step. However, it is very hard to do randomly. You have to have a read on your opponent's movement, on your opponent's timing, and on your opponent's move selection. Because some moves they could just, like I've seen like while running 3's track, because you know they step too early and then it just tracks them. But yeah, for example, post heat burst on block. It's not neutral on block, however, it's all in the air. Usually at the pro level, the person that is getting hit by the heat burst doesn't mash because there's too much gray area. For example, one player can dig jab, one player can sidestep, both players can sidestep. It's usually just neutral, but at the lower level, most of the time, I would say the person who used the heat burst is smashing. And I like being in both scenarios because, you know, in both scenarios I could sidestep. So getting hit by it, we're not getting hit by it. I'm blocking it, I could sidestep if they try to mash the heat. Or if I press heat smash, you know, if they try to do, or if I press heat burst and I sidestep and then they try to do a heat burst and I sidestep their heat burst, I launch them, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, for example, post heat burst, you could just sidestep and launch their heat smash. If they need, they could just get away with mashing. Make them think. It's a very consistent tactic, very common, you know, idea. I hope is being put that I'm putting. Like for example, if their heat is running out, if you backdash and then do like small side steps and block, best case scenario, they whiff their heat smash and you can launch them. Worst case scenario, get forced into a -5 scenario post heat dash, which guess what, you can still sidestep because it's just like getting hit by an electric. However, I mean, I guess the true worst scenario would be, let's say you're Korean backdashing and you're getting hit down back, or you're in your neutral input and boom, you're getting launched. But either way, but yeah, knowing to step in the mirror is very important. That's how I think I've won most of my mirrors, just based off knowledge alone and knowing how to sidestep. Knowing how to sidestep after every single interaction. I basically have control in every single interaction, even eating a +6 while running 3. You know, if I simply just don't mash and just try to evade their linear option or force a poking, game, you know, it's really hard to get counter hit without mashing into frame traps, and you really just trading in the neutral, and that's how I think true Tekken is played. But anyways, but yeah, if they don't have the knowledge, it's a very uphill battle for them. And I hope the gameplay in the background also show these ideas and their, you know, like live. Well, this wasn't live, but the frames will be, I think, at the top in the middle below the health bars. And I might put captions depending on, you know, the things I do. But yeah, if you guys made it this far, like and subscribe and leave a comment. It will really mean a lot to, you know, help me make more videos like this. This was scripted again, and I was stuttering a lot, but you know, I usually just do one takes. It's, yeah, try to get it out, try to get the idea out there when it's fresh. But yeah, see you guys. Peace.